Hello, everybody. So I'm Pablo. I'm an organizational coach, or a consultant, even if you wish. For today, you both are okay. And I'm a general manager in a company called Be Next. And also, since few days, we're bought by another great company, a great one, which is called Octo, and I'm gonna be a general manager too in Octo. And I am here to discuss from basic to foundation. These are my slides. Hope it's okay for everyone. From basic to foundation. So it's mainly a conversation with myself. And I'm hoping you can dig stuff in this conversation. And I'm hoping my terrible French accent is not a problem. So it's from basic to foundation, as keep it simple, and no, let's be simplistic. I did a lot of coaching. I did a lot of agile stuff. And I heard there is a lot of students in the room. So I'm hoping, get your mic, please. And I'm hoping my story would help you in the future. For those who listened to me 8 months ago at Frug'Agile already, it's not the same, but nearly the same session in English. I developed a bit. Okay. Agile, love, hate. A lot of people are talking about Agile. And now, 20 years after the Agile manifesto, we can say there is a lot of rejection, a lot of push away Agile. People hate Agile and people love Agile. And this is a problem or not. But it's a lot less fresh than previously Agile. But it's still very important. And I would like the conversation to help us pick a good understanding about why Agile could be love or hate. First, I received I saw the proposal about Frug'Agile Armenia, and I read the theme was and is from basic to back to basics. And I say no, back to basics. It's a very bad start, from my opinion. Why? Because basic is really different from foundation. And people are using the word basic as it means the foundation. Foundation is something essential. And basic is not at all essential. Basic means simples are as obvious or simplistic. And it's not simple as elegant or something at your core, the core of your heart. And mainly this is a problem with the love-hate Agile stuff. People hate Agile because Agile is mainly very badly implemented. People are writing stuff about, is Agile dead? No, of course it's not dead. Is Scrum dead? No, of course it's not dead. Is Kanban blah, blah, blah. No, of course it's not dead. Why? The world is still complex. The rules of the world, the way the world is working, are nearly the same since 20 years. It's a lot more complex, and Agile is the answer to complexity. So is Agile dead? No. Are the Agile implementation good? No. Are people saying they do Agile? 90%. Are they really doing Agile? 90%. No. There is a very well-known quote I loved a lot from a report in 2006 from Pfeiffer and Sutton, who say people copy the most visible, obvious, and frequently least important practices. So everyone is talking about Agile, but everyone is talking about the least important practices. So the push away of Agile, the people that hate Agile are only talking about the superficial and the least important practices. Example, you can ask me question whenever you want on the chat or by opening your mic, okay? I'm giving you my view of this Agile story, and we'll see. For example, a daily stand-up is a tool and it's basic. A self-organized team is a principle and it's foundation. If you're telling me you're doing basic Agile by doing a daily stand-up, frankly, I don't know if you're Agile at all. And frankly, I don't care. If you're telling me you try to do Agile by setting up self-organized team, you're talking a lot more to me, because this is a foundation, self-organized team. It's a foundation to what? It's a foundation to answer the complexity of the world. Is Agile dead? No, because the world is complex. No, and we need some approach to be able to go on our path in this complex world. Another example. Having a product owner is a tool. It is basic. Okay, you have plenty of people telling they are product owners in many companies. How much of them are really doing the job of a product owner? Probably not all. And separates the responsibilities between who owns the products and who build the products. This is a lot more a foundation. Maybe separate is not the right word, but having a balance, an approach to understand the different point of view between the one or the people who were looking for a specific product, prioritize and have a look at it, and separate, balance the power with the people who build it is a lot more important. So at first, you understand, I frankly don't care how you called the thing daily stand-up product owner, it's what's behind the principle. And only by setting up a daily stand-up does not mean nothing. That is my fight with basics. A lot of companies are using basic word, oh, I only do the basic, just to say, I really do nothing really Agile, and it's okay, I just get the stamp. A very important rule, students, I'm 50 this year, so I can say I'm old, I got experience. Everything that is easy to say is hard to implement. Example, let's self-organize, because behind its principle, mindset, culture. So telling it, let's self-organize, easy to say, it's very hard behind. So be aware that let's be Agile. Okay, it's easy to say, it's very hard behind. At the opposite, what is complicated to say, look at the time, it's usually easy to implement. For example, tools, processes. Example, IKEA furniture, Jira, Safe, and this has no value. This implementing Jira is basic. It's complicated, but it's look like it's obvious. Let's do Jira and we are agile. No, it is not a foundation. Foundation, self-organized team, separate powers between build and owning the product, splitting things in little stuff and work in an emergent way. Okay, that was a lot more foundation. I don't have a list of what is foundation or not. I'm talking about principle, and you can refer maybe to the Agile Manifesto principle, maybe because it's starting to be a bit old. Okay, but why not? And read the books and understand the culture of Agile, and you'll have your foundation. There is another curse problem with the Agile marketing. So the first one is, oh, we only do the basics. No, please talk about foundation. The word is very important. If you're talking to the top managers about what are the foundation of Agile, you cannot say we are doing daily stand-up. Who can believe daily stand-up are foundation? Another curse, another problem is I hear a lot of people saying, I pick few things from Agile, from Scrum, from Kanban, from whatever approach. No, it's not working. It's lying. It's another way to hide yourself, not really doing Agile, but looking like if you are doing Agile. Why? Because it's like in a recipe. You need coherency. Coherency is mandatory. I can't look. I wrote mindset and culture. If you pick the way you manage a team from the waterfall approach, and you pick a self-organized, and you pick estimates, very precise planning and estimation from a waterfall approach, and you pick the Kaizen, you ask yourself question and you make progress by yourself. You cannot work with all these approaches all together. It's very important to have a coherency in the approach, the same mindsets. Choose whatever you want, waterfall, Agile, another one, but you need to have this coherency. So maybe you have questions. So why people are, in my opinion, everything I'm saying is my opinion only. Why people are asking for basic stuff means I can cheat, I can lie, I can mimic Agile. Why people asking for, I pick this and this and not this and this? Because why? Why companies? So why companies want basic, or you can call it fake Agile? Because it's easy and nothing changes. And why companies don't want to pick the foundation? Why companies don't want to pick the self-organized? Ask the right question yourself or to the people in the company you wish to work with. Where and what kind of decision, where are the decisions taken, and what kind of decision are taken and where? It's very important to see that that's a foundation. Where are the spreading of the ability to take decision within the company? Or you can ask, is the teams are self-organized? And you will quickly have good answers of is it Agile or not? And when we are right about what is agile or not, we can decide if we want to hate or love agile and why, but not with what we are watching right now in 80% of the markets. Why companies don't want real, what we can call real agile? Because it is hard and it changes everything. As I said before, hold on my slides. As I said before, easy to say, hard to implement. Let's self-organize. There is a domino effect. Okay, if you self-organize, who's my manager? And if there is less management, what is my career path? And again and again and again. So easy to say, very hard to handle for companies. Companies are just escaping by doing fake agile, and obviously it costs a lot of money and time. And why do people, why now you have a lot of companies telling I don't want to be agile, is not working? What is not working? The fake agile, the false basics. What is working? The foundation. But mainly the vast majority of companies are doing fake agile. So obviously it's quite natural they're saying it's not working. All the more implementing something wrong, just picking some basic superficial stuffs cost a lot of time and money. People lost their mind with bad recipes. So mainly, we understand companies are scared. Not all companies. I'm very pessimistic in this speech, but not all companies. There is a huge difference between the one who already existed before and the brand new ones. And by brand new ones, I'm talking about the last of the 20 last year. So they're not brand new, but compared to the big banks or the historical states companies or whatever company which is older than 20 years, whatever company which is older than Google, for example, it's very, very hard for them to handle agile because it changes everything. So they are scared. And you will observe that in the companies, they try to avoid, to fake, or to control. What is safe? It's not agile at all. It's a way to control, it's a reassurance stuff. Oh, I'm doing agile, I'm doing safe. Not at all, in fact, but I can have control, or I can hiding between titles. Why companies are asking, please do me a little of Spotify here, because if you do like the others, you feel better, you're less scared, and you're mimicking, or you're faking what you are trying to do. It's not working. It costs a lot of money, it costs a lot of time, and now people are complaining Agile is not working. Problem, they never really implement Agile. And by telling people back to basics, be aware that basics, it's not the right word. The right word should be back to foundation. And again, sorry, I'm repeating, but I think it's important. If you're telling people back to basics and you talk about daily stand-up, it does not mean nothing. If you talk about foundation, right now, the conversation changed a bit. So what do we need to change the status? Okay, we can say courage. I don't know in English. I'm not sure it is working. I'm not sure I can see that in the historical big companies I'm talking to you about. Okay, so sorry, when I said vast majority of companies are faking Agile, I wasn't talking about the new ones, and it's a lot more easier for them to handle Agile, and we'll see why. So first, what I'm hoping from these old companies who are complaining about Agile, but really not implementing it. So courage, but I'm not sure it's true. I notice a lot more that it's when they have no choice that something happens. If I'm dying or I change, and in this way, it is working. Why I'm so pessimistic about the historical big companies, older than 20 years, because one of the most hardest things in life could be Agile, could be your guitar level, guitar playing, could be the way you are doing bike, whatever. Unlearn is very, very hard. People are talking about, is it easy to change? But in my experience, I discovered that the word to work on is not change. The word to work on is unlearned. You have to understand the most difficult things is unlearned. So I compared older companies in 20 years to new ones. It's a blurry approach, but mainly. And I think there is no successful transformation yet. It's a little blunt. Of course, it's probably 90% true, but the hardest thing is transform, because you need to unlearn. The new ones, it's a lot easier for them because they are building it and they are learning by doing, and it's emergent. So it is working a lot. It is a lot easier for these companies. And you can notice that the real companies that are really using Agile are not talking about Agile. It is not the topic. The topic is what is our product strategy? What are the outcomes we will manage to have next year? What are the impacts we want? And the companies who are talking about Agile, hiding, mimicking, faking Agile, they are talking a lot about Agile. Any company you see doing a return on experience about Agile, be aware. They should not talk about Agile, or maybe there is a problem. Another thing that is useful is suspended beliefs. It is a way to unlearn. You need to suspend your beliefs. Okay, let's try something different. So let's forget, unlearn what I know. Okay, it's difficult. We have another problem to work on with this is Agile is about something emerging. And when you ask people to suspend their beliefs, you are telling them, okay, suspend your beliefs, and we are trying something Agile, and then we will learn differently, and then you will choose if you like it or not, and then you will choose how to adapt. But do not choose to adapt before. Leave it first, and then you will choose how to adapt. And we are entering a kind of schizophrenia, because we're talking to people about an emerging approach, an emerging mindset, and suddenly we are telling them, no, you need to follow the rules first to understand the approach, and then you will be able to move it, adapt it, because then you will know the foundation. Instead of pick whatever you want, and it will be the basics, because this is key problem in our world, and it will not work. So it's difficult for us to telling people, do it by the book. Oh, you're telling me it's an emerging approach. So it's kind of schizophrenia in discourse, in our in the way we are explaining Agile to the client, to the customers. Keep that in mind. We need luck. You need to find the good coaches or read the good books. And I'm not talking about the person, but I'm talking about the way they are doing their coaching approach. They are not all good. Some lose their minds. Why? Because it's so hard. Be prepared. It's very being an organizational coach is really hard because company, as I tell you, are trying to control, are trying to fake, are trying to hide, are focusing on Jira or Safe, on the basics and the wrong stuff. And it's like a wall, you are hitting a wall as an organizational coach. So it's very hard to live. And I can understand people are going crazy and completely change, are losing themselves, losing their minds. Few examples. I said to you consultants at the beginning of the talk, it was a bit it was a bit a joke, but consultant, at least it means something. I'm not crazy, coach. It means something. I'm not crazy. But if you're looking at some people on LinkedIn, you can see an holistic gardener or social architect, or as a title, I love human, I foster people. For me, it's a signal that people, it's too harsh, it's too rude, it's too hard for people to deal with this companies that are faking agile. So they try to escape in some other world and they are losing themselves. Another example I noticed, you're talking about sketchnoting, Morgan. At first, the sketchnoting was this from Dan Rome, for example, easy, understandable. It's a framework for a conversation, or it could have been this, easy, understandable. It's a tool for a conversation. And it became something like this. You're losing your mind. It's only useful for the author, not for me. I will never read this. I will never read this. It's craziness. I will look at this and have a conversation with this. I will look at this. So coaches are becoming are losing their mind. I'm not talking about the people, but beware of the coaches. It's very pessimistic. But think about all the brand new 20 years old companies that are very interesting. But for the older one, it's really a wall you are hitting. You have to be prepared. I had the chance to have a conversation with Jeff Patton 3 weeks ago in a conference we organized everywhere, School of Product. And one of his key points is this quote: change will follow the hearse. Means the change will maybe only come with the death of few people. So it's very dark, but it means many companies you will never change until the top management will leave. Yeah. And sometimes the best advice for a company is change the top management. But usually they are very strong and really linked to the state. So changing the top management is a dream. Maybe we will have another chance with the enterprise life expectancy that is reducing from 50 years to 20 years these days. So maybe it will accelerate the fact that the older companies are dying and we can change them. So with all this How long am I? Good. Well, really, I had a couloir. I have a corridor conversation with Jeff Patton, and he was as pessimistic as me, and it surprised me. We are really hitting a wall because the company has scared the older one, the huge one, the historical one. And this is the majority of the companies. They're faking, they're mimicking. So basic, it's a problem for us as a world. Picking whatever you want is a problem for us as a world. We need to talk about foundation. We need to try to implement hard things. We are losing money and time, even me, even you. So few key points in my opinion about the states I'm describing. For myself, I have a policy of 3-4 months rolling. I can't know what will happen in a company before 3 or 4 months, living within the company, knowing the company. And then I can understand what I see. And then I can understand, is the company really try to implement the foundation of Agile, or implement the foundation of what do we need to handle the complexity of the world? If not, I'm leaving. Law of 2 feet. It's easy to say because I'm a general manager in a great company. So if I'm moving out of the company and saying, no, you're not, you're faking it. So I'm losing my time and money. I'm leaving. Good. But it's easy to say for me because I got money from my company and I will have other customers. I can understand it's not easy to say for everyone, but please try, because if you're not trying, if you're staying in a company that fake Agile, you're just doing a bullshit jobs. It's not good for you. It's not good for the company. It's not good for us. So the rule of 3-4 months rolling, I'm look at every 3-4 months behind me. Is the attitude good? And did we have some steps, progress? Yes. So I keep on working. Don't be fooled by appearance. What is good? What is bad? We're talking about kindness. We're talking about confronting people. It's not so easy to read the reality of what is really good for a company, what is really working on a foundation. Don't be fooled by the surface, by the appearance. Don't fall into the trap of the happiness for everybody. Confrontation could be a very good tool. Be aware. The authenticity of your view is important. So as I said, basic foundation. Few questions you can ask yourselves when you're doing Agile as a Scrum Master, as a coach, as a consultant, whatever, in a company. I'm asking myself, am I working for a team or for the whole organization, or even for beyond, for the good of Agile? It's a kind of question I'm asking myself. And also with this question, I'm asking, it's a matrix. I will show it just after. I'm asking myself, I'm trying to implement this in the company in the benefit of whom? Is it for me because I'm learning a new tool, so I try to implement it in a company, so it's good for me? Or I'm trying to develop this foundation, for example, self-organized team, is it good for me, for my customers, for the organization, or is it for the benefit of the goal we are trying to reach? For whom am I working? And at which level? At the level of a team, of the organization, or it even beyond? And it's not a very good one, but I try a first implementation. And if you're working for yourself in a local, if you try to implement a new tool with a team, you have to be aware it's really not very useful. It could be useful one time, but try to avoid that. You're faking it too. For example, if I try to give benefit for my client at the whole organization level, maybe I'm only doing marketing for me and my clients. Is it a really good thing to do? Not sure. Probably the right things to focus on are small steps with teams, trying to answer the real goal. So answering the organization or the goal you are trying to reach, not to please the client, not to please yourself, or at the organization level, because you can work at the local level and you can work at the organization level. We call it systemic coaching or OGA or whatever, but probably this is the area where it's useful when you're in a good way to really try to implement Agile. And think about when you try to implement stuff, think about foundation, not basics, not tools, not processes. You will, of course, there will be tools. Of course, there will be processes. Of course, you can use Jira if you want. You can even use Safe if you want. But you do it first with the foundation, with the principles, with the mindset you try to achieve. Why? Because this foundation, this mindset, it's not a philanthropic approach. It's to answer the complex world we are living in. And you want the enterprise to perform, they need to be able to handle well the complexity. So they need to work with these principles, mindset, culture of Agile, because this is the way to have results, outcomes, impact in the world we are living in. But it is difficult. It's easy to say, it's really difficult to implement because it changes everything. Or the other way, it's too hard, it's scary, you fake it, you try to control it. So you request tools, frameworks, basics, process, like the daily stand-up, forgetting the principles behind. It's difficult to do a session about these topics because we fall in the basic trap, which is it's too easy to say. You know, I'm trying to look at my, I lost, that's the problem with paper. I lost them. Okay. Easy to say, hard to implement, complicated to explain. Explain me Safe. It's not easy to explain, but it's easy to implement. And frankly, there's no real value. At the opposite, it can be a real problem. So it's a tricky session because I am in the mood. I feel I'm saying easy things to say, but they are hard to implement. And it will make a real difference in your life, I think. If you really try to dig this difference between foundation and basic, between the principle, the mindset, the culture, and the tool, the processes, and of course, I notice one thing is missing from my presentation. You have to put in action these principles and mindset and culture, it can't stay only theory. You have to make them palpable, tangible, with processes and tools and frameworks maybe. But you have to handle these processes and tools and framework with the foundation behind. I cannot only be, or you cannot only be a prophet telling people this is a principle, but we don't care. You have to tackle the reality. You put the foundation in the reality, and it changes everything. And companies don't want to be changed because it's very difficult. They feel insecure, and it's very difficult to learn things. So that's the end. That was my conversation with myself. Thank you. I hope I made things clear, easy to say, hard to implement. People, where is this one? People are, okay, forget the slide. the quote about FIFA is certain. People are choosing the wrong processes, the wrong practices. It's too easy. Try to think about it if you are mainly students. Keep that in mind, please. It will help everybody, you and me. You want to help me? Keep that in mind. Okay. If you have questions or feedback or whatever.
Thank you, Pablo. We have a question from Erevan. How do you know if you're a good coach and you have a good approach?
So first answer is, I tell you, it's a difficult job. It's a hard job because if things are going well, it's never due to you. And if things are going bad, it is due to you and you're replaced quickly. How do you know if you're a good coach? It's a very difficult question. It's very difficult to answer. I don't know if there is an answer. I would say it's oops, sorry. It's my, are people listening? Do people listen to you? Are people, what people are telling about you maybe? I don't know. I have no answers for this question. And you don't care if you don't care if you are a good, this is not, don't try to answer this question for yourself. Try to do well what you are here for. So try to dig the real question and not only on surface like basic, try to dig on foundation. Oh, can you say you are a good coach? I would say approval of the community, approval of multiple clients, but it could be a trick because a lot of clients are happy because you change nothing. So no, this is not the right answer. So I don't know.
I'm just a Scrum Master, actually, when I'm at work. And I like to think of myself as a product owner, like the user of the product of the Scrum are developers, Scrum teams, stakeholder, and everything. So when I ask myself, do I have a good approach? Am I in the right posture? I like to think about the environment and how they adopt the product, the Scrum. So maybe it can be a way of, I don't know. It's my
at least you need to ask yourself this kind of question frequently. What I'm doing and why I'm doing this and what is the context and what is useful in this context, which is very different from this one, and how we are evolving slowly but surely, or quickly and very well. And you have to frequently and authentically ask yourself this kind of question.
And do you have a way to find if you have a good approach or if it's not a good approach or not the best approach possible? Because being a good or not good coach is a thing, but having the right way to do the thing within your context is another thing, I guess.
I try again to answer the first question and this one because they are quite similar. I think about something different. Maybe it's really important you're not only a coach, because how can I judge myself as a coach? Very tricky. How can I judge myself as a general manager of a company? Far more easier. I can look at the numbers, figures, the finance of the company. I can look at are people leaving or not the company, or how people are talking about the company in around them, and it's working as a general manager and not a coach learned me a lot that about the I have a slide about bad, good, confronting, kindness, whatever. It put me out of the usual usual answers based on theory about kindness, about sharing decision, and maybe I'm too old to be a very good agile guy, but try to put yourself in a position when you are your own customer, and no being only a coach for others, because it's blurring your visibility if you're doing well or not. And yes, you to answer the last question, you can be a bad or a good coach, in my opinion. That's another thing that I learned. There is no problem telling people you're a good or bad coach. I'm not judging the people, the person herself, and it could change, but integrity and authenticity I have to work on. No, sorry, you're not fitting for the job, and yes, you are fitting for the job. And yes, you can have plenty of good coaches who are acting very differently between themselves. There is no one kind of good coach. There are plenty of different kind of good coach, depending of the kind of person you are. And they're exactly the same about bad coach. And it could be a period, a cycle. I'm bad during 6 months and I'm good again in 6 months later, etc., etc., etc. One of biggest learning of the management for me is tell the truth to the people. This is good, this is bad, and it's not you are good, you are bad. This is good, this is bad, which is very different. The first time, there is no way to avoid this. They handle it badly. Oh, I'm good, I'm bad, this is me. And with time, when it's frequent, this is good, this is bad, they learn it's not related to them, but it's related to their action, their acts, and they can improve. I don't know if I answered the question, but there is no one typical good coach and one typical bad coach. There are many ways to be good, there are many ways to be bad, and it's related to yourself, who kind of people you are. So it's also very important to know what kind of people you are. Don't try to be a good coach like your neighbor, because you're different.